Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 28th of October to the 3rd of November 2024. So we're in the month of Scorpio, one of the darkest months of the year, where we take our light inwards, explore our subconscious realms, look at what's been lying underneath, hiding in the background, and bravely bring it to light. We have the Sun and Mercury, both in Scorpio. So we have the solar power to be able to shine a light into those waters, and we have the inquisitive eye of Mercury, being able to see round corners, perceive in the darkness. So thus begins the month of Scorpio, and on the 3rd of November we have an opposition between Mars and Pluto. It's worth noting that Mars and Pluto are both the ruling planets of Scorpio, so this is an incredibly Scorpionic aspect, and we can feel the building power over the last couple of weeks, but getting even more strong this week. So Scorpio's job is to take what's base, whatever's low, and elevate it, to raise our consciousness, to raise our energy up the spine. It's also worth noting that in some of the body energy systems, or chakra systems, Mars rules the root and Pluto hovers just above the crown. So Mars gives us the fuel, the ignition, to be able to raise that energy all the way up from base to crown in an alchemical transmutation. So the three symbols of Scorpio are the scorpion digging around on the ground, the two serpents raising the energy up the spine, and the eagle of the pineal gland opening. And the whole process is often shown as a phoenix dying in the ashes to be reborn. So wherever you have Scorpio in your chart, whichever house, whichever planets you've got there, are well worth some focus and attention during this time. Because on the 3rd, Mars opposes Pluto. This will be one of 3 oppositions, but the most exact, as Mars is about to go retrograde and will make 2 slightly more loose oppositions at the beginning of January and the middle of April. So we can see this as a timeline through the winter, but this one is the strongest. Both planets direct, both planets active, and we're looking here at the earthly will, or the human will, the personal will, and the higher will, or the divine will. So Scorpio is the supreme psychologist. Got the opportunity here to see whether we're coming from the lower will and what motivates us from that smaller, separate, ego-driven standpoint. So can we take apart our story, our personality, forensically, piece by piece, reduce it to the ashes so that we can rise up again, sovereign and freeborn? So how to break this down in your chart? Well, first of all, have a look where Capricorn is in your chart. Pluto entered Capricorn around 2008 and will be leaving at the end of this month. So we've had 16 years to feel the slow dismantling of limitations, anything that's constricting, that we've outgrown, and more recently firming up the ground under our feet, us being able to stand strong and tall on and for something, setting deep roots in order that we can grow tall. So depending on which house this is for you, which planets are involved, you have had a 16-year journey of slowly dismantling, possibly tough lessons, could be interpreted as hardship, because if things don't go the way of the personal will, that can often be made into a sob story or a view that life has to be difficult or nothing will work out. So can you find that story first? Pluto's transit through Capricorn in your chart. Really have a deep reflection this week. What have you completely transformed? In the first house, that would be your view of self. Second house, your values. Third house, the inspiration that you tune into and the beliefs that result from that. Fourth house, home, family and roots, the very ground that you stand on. So it's well worth learning the houses, because we can see them as areas of our life that we can work on with the right transits and the right timing. So that's a 16-year journey that we've been on there. But Mars has only been moving through Cancer since early September, and it's only recently really being felt with this exact opposition. We've got a longer story about the Mars retrograde, which will take us through to the spring as well. But for now, focusing on this, Mars is coming along to purge and activate. So whereas Cancer in your chart is opposite Capricorn, and the houses and the signs do work as pairs, so where is Mars bringing purging fire, cleansing, passion, dynamism and activation into your life? It could be on a personal level or less personal, depending on where this is happening for you. But for example, if Capricorn is the first house and you've had a 16-year journey of revising really who you are at core level, then Mars is coming along in your house of relationships, and you'll see that activation. And the stronger you are in yourself, the more respect and flow and harmony you can have in relationships. If it's the second house, that Capricorn's in, and you've been on a journey of reevaluating who you really are and what you care about, then Mars in Cancer in the 8th house will activate where value is shown back to you in life. And the 3rd house, if Pluto in Capricorn has been fundamentally changing your belief systems and what you tune into for inspiration, then Mars in Cancer opposite in the 9th house will be opening that channel even further to be able to receive divine inspiration and flow. So those are just 3 pairs of the houses, but we can see here a long fundamental change with Pluto in Capricorn, wherever that is, and an imminent purging and activation with Mars approaching the opposition point. Because Mars is in Cancer, a very emotional sign, this is actually helping us decondition our emotional state, and as said last week, might be stirring up some subconscious emotions in our waters, activating those waters so that we can let go of any beliefs that we've been holding on to, let go from the very cells of our body, and make some space. So in a way this feels like a cleansing of fire and water. In England we're approaching November the 5th, where many people have bonfires. So this is a spiritual bonfire of sorts. Can you visualise the wood, your old beliefs and structures that you've outgrown, you no longer need, and then the fire as Mars burning them away into the night sky. And right now it doesn't really matter if we're unsure of who we are or where we're going as a result of this letting go. The letting go process has to come first. Whatever's left is the true you. And as soon as Pluto moves into Aquarius on the 20th of November, you'll start to feel that true essence, your unique vibrational source energy come flooding in and be inner guided in the right direction, shown your true desires and assisted in making elevated decisions from a new place. So we need to let go of trying to control, not having to know. I need a plan, I need to know who I am and where I'm going. This is the only direction here is inwards. It's a very rare alignment as it's happening at that vital Pluto point of 29 degrees Capricorn on the verge of the Aquarian age. So if you would like to see where this is happening for you, I am available zoehind7@gmail.com. You can have readings including tarot, recorded MP3, covering this and other aspects of your chart. I teach astrology, tarot, numerology and more. All those videos are on my YouTube channel, Zoe Astro. And I do coaching and counselling as well, if you've really got some deep issues that you'd like to dig up once and for all. So an incredibly intense Scorpionic week. Sun and Mercury going through Scorpio, helping us see in the dark. And the 2 rulers of Scorpio, Mars and Pluto, both doing their alchemical work of raising our consciousness. But the first step in that is to let go of who we're not, realise what we've been holding on to, in a purging release, throw it to the fire, create the space so that we're ready for the new Aquarian energies that are coming in imminently. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week.